Happy New Year!
新年快樂
Thank you, worship team.
多謝敬拜隊，
All great songs representing who Jesus is.
所有嘅詩歌都好美麗，好好去講出耶穌係邊個，
To us.
對我哋講出耶穌係邊個。
And the passage that was read during the worship,
咁我哋今日所讀嘅經文
songs,
我哋嘅詩歌，
one of the most important questions that everyone has to answer.
都係講出有一個最重要嘅問題。
Who is Jesus?
耶穌係邊個？
Wikipedia says that Jesus was a first-century Jewish preacher and a religious leader.
咁咧喺Wikipedia 嗰度就話咧，耶穌咧係喺呢個第一世紀嘅時候，呢個猶太人嘅導師同埋一個宗教嘅領袖。
Muslims believe that Jesus was the bringer of Scripture.
咁回教徒咧就相信耶穌咧係將聖經係帶嚟。
That he was born to the Virgin Mary,
耶穌亦都係從呢個童貞女瑪利亞誕生，
but he's not the Son of God.
但係佢唔係神嘅兒子。
Jehovah's Witnesses believe Jesus became the Messiah when he was baptized.
咁而耶和華見證人咧就係佢哋相信耶穌係俾約翰施洗者約翰受洗之後先至係變咗做彌賽亞。
But they don't believe that he's God because they believe God created him.
但係佢哋唔相信耶穌係神，因為係神去創造咗佢嘅。
These are a few examples of what some people believe Jesus is, who they believe he is.
呢啲都係一啲例子，就係話有唔同嘅人對耶穌嘅係邊個嘅唔同嘅諗法。
Because no one can deny the fact that Jesus lived.
因為其實冇人可以否認到耶穌曾經係活着到。
It's not only recorded in Scripture that he lived, but there's historical documents that say he lived.
除咗係聖經有當年有講過之外，其他嘅好多嘅歷史書都有講到耶穌嘅存在。
Such as Roman historians Tacitus and Josephus wrote about Jesus.
就好似嗰時羅馬帝國嘅歷史學家都有寫低過耶穌嘅生平。
And Josephus is regarded as the most important Jewish historian of the ancient world.
而甚至其中一個Josephus 就係嗰時係喺古代嚟講，其中一個最重要嘅猶太人嘅歷史學家都有寫到耶穌。
Writers such as Ignatius and Clement of Rome in the 1st and 2nd century wrote about Jesus.
嗰時喺羅馬亦都係第一世紀一啲嘅教父都有寫到耶穌。
So the question is, did Jesus live? It's, who is he?
所以個問題唔係話耶穌有冇存在過，個問題就係話耶穌係邊個？
Who is he to you and me?
對我哋嚟講，耶穌係邊個？
Because we learned that Jesus came to the district of Caesarea Philippi and he asked his disciples, who do people say I am?
因為我哋喺聖經裏面睇到耶穌去到呢個凱撒利亞腓立比嘅時候，佢就問佢嘅門徒。
In Matthew 8:20, and Jesus said to him, foxes have holes and birds have the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head.
耶穌就喺馬太福音第8章嗰度講話：狐狸有洞，天空的飛鳥有窩，人子卻沒有枕頭的地方。
Jesus is proclaiming himself to be the Son of Man.
耶穌佢係話自己係人子，
But he wants to know what people are saying about him to his disciples.
但同時佢亦都問其他人，問佢嘅門徒啊，其他人同埋門徒覺得佢係邊個咧？
And they provided 3 specific people and then a general statement.
咁啲門徒咧都有提過話，耶穌係可能係三個人。
Oh, he's John the Baptist.
佢哋就話有啲人覺得你係施洗者約翰。
In Matthew 14:1 and 2. At the time, Herod the Tetrarch heard about the fame of Jesus, and he said to his servants, "This is John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead. That is why these miraculous powers are at work in him."
就好似馬太福音第14章嗰度就話：那時分封的王希律聽見耶穌的名聲，就對神僕說：這是施洗的約翰從死裏復活，所以這些異能從他裏面發出來。
So many people believe that he was John the Baptist raised from the dead.
所以嗰時都好多人相信耶穌係施洗者約翰從死裏邊復活出嚟嘅。
Some claim, oh, he's Elijah.
咁有啲人亦都係認為佢係以利亞。
Because in the Old Testament, Elijah represents the messianic forerunner.
因為喺嗰個時代嘅人啲人相信係以利亞係喺舊約時代嘅一個彌賽亞嘅一個先鋒。
Oh, he's Jeremiah, the prophet Jeremiah.
或者有啲人話佢係先知耶利米。
Or he's some other prophet from the Old Testament.
或者係從舊約裏邊嘅其他嘅先知。
In Deuteronomy 18:15-18, the Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me, from among you, from your brothers. It is to him you shall listen, just as you desired of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of the assembly, when you said, let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, or see this great fire any more, lest I die. And the Lord said to me, they are right in what they have spoken. I will raise up from them a prophet like you, from among their brothers, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I have commanded him.
喺申命記嗰度有講過話，第18章15至18節，耶和華你的神要從你們弟兄中間，給你興起一位先知像我，你們要聽從他。正如你在何烈山大會的日子，求耶和華你神一切的話說，求你不再叫我聽見耶和華我神的聲音，也不再叫我看見這大火，免得我死亡。
So these are the responses from Jews, from Roman leaders, about who Jesus is.
所以馬太福音都記載到話，門徒同耶穌講話呢啲耶穌其他人係覺得耶穌係邊個？
So who do people say Jesus is in our culture?
咁喺我哋嘅文化裏邊，啲人係話耶穌係邊個咧？
Who do people you know say who Jesus is?
或者喺你嘅朋友裏邊，佢哋覺得耶穌係邊個咧？
Because now Jesus turns the question to his disciples.
因為跟住耶穌就將呢個問題轉到去門徒嗰度。
Who do you say I am?
佢就問門徒：你哋話我係邊個咧
With all this other stuff being said about me in the culture, in Rome, in Caesarea Philippi, who do you say I am?
喺嗰時喺羅馬或者喺其他嘅地方，所有人都講我係唔同嘅人，係唔同嘅身份。咁你哋又覺得我係邊個咧？
And the Apostle Peter, who always has something to say.
咁我哋都知道門徒彼得係成日都會有嘢講嘅。
You are the Christ, the Son of the living God.
佢就話：你係基督，係永生神的兒子。
So that's who Jesus is, the Son of God.
因為佢嘅答案係啱嘅，因為耶穌就係神嘅兒子。
But for some people, this is hard to believe.
對有啲人嚟講係呢個都好難相信。
There are things that prevent people from seeing that, from believing that.
因為都有好多嘢阻礙到好多人係相信神，耶穌係神嘅兒子。
One of the first Christian books I was asked to read, and I read, was Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis.
咁其中第一本嘅關於基督教嘅書我睇嘅咧，就係C.S. Lewis 寫嘅唯有基督教。
And he wrote this book for people who are new to faith.
咁C.S. Lewis 寫呢本書咧，就係為咗啲相信耶穌嘅。
Before becoming a believer, he was an atheist.
咁當佢係未相信耶穌之前咧，佢係唔信神嘅。
And in his book, he says that there's 3 responses that we can have toward Jesus.
咁佢呢本書嗰度就寫話咧，我哋對呢個問題咧，我哋通常都有3個回應。
The first response is that we can call Jesus a liar.
第一個回應就係話我哋話耶穌係一個騙子。
That he's not who he says he is.
因為耶穌根本就唔係佢講話嘅神嘅兒子。
So when somebody says they don't believe in Jesus, then they're really calling him a liar.
所以有啲人咧，如果佢哋話佢唔相信耶穌的話，就因為佢哋覺得耶穌係一個騙子。
Second, he's a lunatic. He's a madman.
第二，或者佢可能有啲人會話覺得耶穌可能係一個瘋子或者一個精神問題嘅人。
Because only a lunatic would claim to be God.
因為其實只會係瘋子先至會話自己係神。
Because no one else has ever claimed to be God.
因為其實都未試過有人係話自己係神。
No other religious leader ever claimed to be God.
冇任何一個宗教嘅領袖係曾經講過話自己係神。
They always pointed a way to God.
佢哋只會係指其中啲對去神嘅途徑。
They instructed ways to get to God.
佢哋會教其他人話點樣可以去到神嗰度。
But no one has ever said, I'm God.
但係嗰啲領袖從來冇講過話佢哋自己係神。
So according to C.S. Lewis, only a lunatic would say that.
所以 C.S. Lewis 就話唯一就係可能即係瘋子先至話自己係神。
His mind must not be right.
因為佢嘅心理肯定有啲問題。
Or the third, yes, he is Lord.
或者第三個回應就係話冇錯，耶穌就係主，就係神。
He is who he claims to be.
佢係話佢係神。
He's Jesus, the Messiah.
佢係耶穌，佢係彌賽亞。
He's the only way to the Father.
佢係去到父神面前嘅唯一嘅途徑。
So what have you heard people say about Jesus?
咁對你嚟講，你哋聽過其他人嚟講過耶穌係邊個咧
Do they say that he's a good teacher?
其他人會唔會話耶穌係一個道德嘅教師咧？
He's a good moral teacher.
佢係一個好好嘅一個道德嘅教師。
He's a prophet.
佢係先知。
He did miraculous things.
佢行好多神蹟。
Or is he Lord?
或者佢係咪主？
Because there are some people who don't acknowledge Jesus as Lord.
因為我哋都知道亦都有人係完全唔承認神嘅存在。
There are people who don't even believe God exists.
好多人根本就完全唔相信神喺度嘅。
I mean, our culture and society present this to us.
咁喺我哋都知道我哋嘅文化，我哋嘅社會都係咁樣同我哋講。
They support this.
佢哋直情係支持呢個講法。
They place teachers and professors in schools that tell students that God doesn't exist.
呢個社會有好多，我哋都知道好多喺學校或者大學嘅先生都係會喺同其他人講話根本冇神。
There is no God.
冇神嘅。
Makes me think back to one of my first philosophy class in college.
咁亦都等我回想起我第一個喺呢個大學上呢個哲學堂嘅時候。
My professor, everyone gets started out, all the students, and my professor at the very beginning of the class, the first thing he says is, there is no God, Jesus wasn't the Messiah, we're not talking about God, and if you write about God in your papers to try to convince me there is a God, you'll get an F and I will flunk you out of my class.
即係當喺第一堂嘅時候咧，第一樣嘢佢就同所有嘅學生講話：我唔相信神嘅，我亦都唔相信耶穌係咩耶穌。如果你哋邊個夠膽係寫耶穌的話咧，我就俾個 F 你同埋踢你出班。
Pastor on this last Wednesday at the prayer meeting shared with us an experience that he had at Bellevue College.
咁Pastor One 咧喺上個禮拜三嘅祈禱會咧度有個分享。
The professor expressed the same thing. I don't believe in God, and therefore we're not going to talk about God.
佢就話佢曾經係旁聽過喺 Bellevue College 上一個宗教哲學嘅一班，嗰個教授咧就亦都好公開咁同所有嘅學生講話，佢唔相信神。
So don't write about God in your papers and you turn them into me.
所以咧佢同啲學生講話，你喺你嘅寫文裏邊咧，千祈唔好寫耶穌。
Don't ask questions about God.
亦都唔好問一啲神嘅問題。
That's our culture and our society we live in.
呢個就係我哋喺我哋生活緊嘅文化同埋呢個社會。
Now this is only public schools. There's private schools that teach otherwise, but the public school setting.
即係當然有啲私立學校都係會講神會講耶穌嘅，但係呢個就係我哋生活喺呢個公立學校嘅環境裏邊。
So therefore, students are told, or Christians are told, to keep quiet about their faith.
所以喺嗰啲學校裏邊嗰啲學生或者係甚至佢哋係基督徒，咁佢哋但係啲先生會同佢哋講話佢哋係唔啱嘅。
So the problem we face in our culture in America, especially in our culture here in the Pacific Northwest, is that we're told to shut up about God.
所以我哋有一個好嚴重嘅問題，就係話喺我哋嘅文化裏邊，我哋其實話當我哋應該係收聲，我哋唔好講關於神嘅嘢。
Don't talk about God to me.
唔好同我講咩神。
How dare you?
你點解夠膽同我講呢個嘢
He doesn't exist.
佢根本都唔存在。
But then we read in Scripture that He is Lord.
但係我哋知道，我哋喺聖經裏邊講話，耶穌就係神。
He is the Son of the living God.
佢係永生神嘅子。
And Jesus built His church with Peter.
耶穌咧亦都係同彼得係建立咗教會，
And it's continuing to build it in 2019.
亦都係就算直到係2019年都係繼續建立緊呢個教會。
We are responsible to defend our faith in Christ.
我哋係基督徒嘅，我哋就要有責任去為咗基督嘅信仰去辯護，
And teach others about God.
亦都要教其他人關於神。
Encourage those who are lacking in faith.
我哋可能認識有啲人係冇乜信心嘅，我哋要鼓勵佢哋。
And being challenged about their faith in God.
亦都係我哋亦都鼓勵一啲係被挑戰緊佢哋嘅信仰嘅人。
So these students are being taught, as I said, that Jesus is a good teacher.
我好似我頭先咁講啦，啲學生我哋都係被教導話耶穌係一個好嘅先生。
He was a great religious leader of his time.
佢係一個好偉大嘅宗教嘅領袖。
Yes, let's be loving. Let's love one another.
佢講嘅都係關於愛。
Let's not lie to one another.
唔好同其他人唔好欺騙互相欺騙。
Let's respect one another.
互相去尊重。
Honor one another.
互相去敬重。
These are all good moral values to have.
呢啲所有都係好好嘅道德嘅觀念嚟㗎。
But don't call him God.
但係唔好話俾佢聽，唔好話俾我聽耶穌係神。
Don't call him Lord.
唔好叫佢係主。
It prevents Jesus from being shared in a public setting.
呢啲嘅文化，呢啲教導都係阻止到基督教會係被建立。
They're being taught, kids, young and old, as they get in elementary school all the way up to college, are being taught that there is no God.
所有嘅無論係小朋友或者年輕人，佢哋都係被教導話耶穌唔係神。
They talk about Jesus in schools, in a small little paragraph in the textbook.
可能佢哋都會有講有提起下耶穌，但係都係可能一個好短嘅篇幅。
But he doesn't exist.
但係佢存在，神唔存在。
There is no God, therefore let's not talk about him.
神都唔存在，咁我哋講佢哋做咩啫？
But it's important for all of us who believe in Jesus Christ to refute these belief systems.
但對我哋相信基督徒嚟講，我哋一定好重要嘅，我哋一定要去辯護，對我哋嘅信仰去辯護。
Because there are two lies that are being expressed. There is no God, and then there are many ways that heaven and people do believe in God.
因為咧，亦都係而家我哋聽到兩個好大嘅謊言，就係話根本係冇神，同埋一個我哋係可以用唔同嘅途徑去到神嗰度。
And it's by the grace of God and by supporting one another that we can refute and stand up against this.
但係如果我哋弟兄姊妹可以我哋係可以互相去支持，我哋大家喺埋一齊，就我哋可以將呢啲嘅錯嘅觀念去糾正。
Because the devil wants this to continue to happen.
因為魔鬼就想我哋好似而家嘅文化咁繼續咁樣去發展落去。
He wants not only America but every culture, every country to refute God's existence.
魔鬼唔只想話美國，好似美國而家文化咁樣，佢想全世界嘅文化都係話遠離神。
And he uses people to help move that message along.
而魔鬼亦都係利用人去將佢呢啲錯誤嘅信息去傳揚開去。
And we're reminded that Jesus responds to Peter's confession.
咁我哋呢個經文亦都提到耶穌點樣去回應彼得。
Because it's God who saves us, not flesh and blood.
佢就話係耶穌話呢啲唔係人所講嘅説話，而係屬於靈所講嘅説話。
Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven.
耶穌就係話因為這不是屬血肉指示你的，乃是我在天上的父指示的。
See, flesh and blood refers to human beings.
咁血肉即係話指人啦。
Our own minds.
我哋自己嘅思想。
We can't claim that an angel revealed it to us.
我哋唔可以話係一個天使話俾我哋聽嘅。
That demons led us to Jesus.
或者我哋唔可以話係魔鬼帶領我哋去耶穌嗰度。
That our own cleverness from our minds opened our eyes to know God.
我哋都唔可以話係我哋自己嘅我哋嘅智慧或者聰明可以令到我哋去認識神。
God opens our eyes and our hearts and our minds.
而係只係神係將我哋嘅心同我哋嘅眼去打開。
Jesus is making it very clear that we don't have a say in it.
耶穌好明白咁講到，唔係我哋可以能夠講出呢啲説話。
It's exclusively by divine revelation.
而係完全都係同天上天父嘅指示。
Matthew 11:27, this is Jesus. All things have been handed over to me by my Father, and no one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son chooses to reveal him.
好似耶穌都講過話，一切所有的都是我父交付我哋，除了父，沒有人知道子；除了子和子所願意指示的，沒有人知道父。
This is a very intimate statement that Jesus is making about his relationship with God the Father.
我哋從從耶穌講呢句話，我哋亦都可以睇到其實耶穌同神係一個好親密嘅關係。
Because if we look at the Old Testament and New Testament, Jews refer to God as Father, but they refer to plural, our Father.
因為我哋睇到如果你睇翻新舊約經文，都係猶太人對父神都係話神係父，但係佢哋亦都係中意講用呢個眾數。
So Jesus uses a more singular, personal, intimate expression of my Father.
但係當耶穌提到父嗰時候，就係用一個最單數，就係話我嘅父。
So Jesus opened the eyes. God the Father opened Peter's eyes and heart to know that Jesus was the Messiah.
所以係神將彼得嘅眼打開，等佢睇到耶穌係神嘅兒子。
It's by divine revelation alone.
只係因為從天上嘅指示嘅啟示。
So when I look back on when I was saved at 17 years old, it was God who led me to church, not me just saying one day, oh, I'm just going to go to church.
所以每一次當我講翻我17歲嘅時候得救嘅見證，我都唔會話係我自己係去得救嘅，而係我知道係神帶領我得救。
After being at church for a year, God opened my eyes and told me that He's the Messiah.
係嗰時我去咗教會去咗1年之後，神就打開我嘅眼，就當我知道耶穌就係彌賽亞。
So everything that I read in the New Testament, when I heard the sermons on Sundays, went to the youth group and heard about Jesus, I believed it.
咁我嗰時去無論從崇拜裏邊啊，從呢個主日學裏邊，我哋都等能夠明白同埋相信神。
Jesus is my Lord.
耶穌係我嘅主。
I'm saved by Him.
佢係拯救我。
Not on my own account.
我唔係靠自己拯救自己。
Therefore, no one may boast of their salvation, as Paul tells us in Ephesians 2:9.
所以就好似保羅咁講話，所以等到冇人可以去誇大自己。
And it's because of Peter's confession about him being the Lord, Jesus responds, and I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church.
咁亦都好似跟住耶穌就係話，就之後之後嘅節數就18節就話，你是彼得，我要把我的教會建造在這磐石上。
Peter was the first pastor.
彼得就係教會嘅第一個嘅牧師。
And the gates of hell would not prevail, Jesus tells us.
就好似耶穌講話，陰間嘅權柄都唔能夠勝過佢教會。
I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven.
我會將呢個天國嘅鑰匙都俾咗你。
And this is referring to Jesus giving Peter knowledge and wisdom to preach the gospel.
就係耶穌咁講，就係因為等到佢會話彼得係有神嘅智慧去傳講呢個福音。
And Peter's first sermon was at Pentecost in Acts.
咁我哋都知道喺彼得嘅第一個嘅講道就係喺呢個五旬節嘅時候。
But not only is Peter given the keys to the kingdom of heaven, we are all, as disciples of Christ, given the keys to the kingdom of heaven to preach the gospel, to share the gospel.
其實唔單止彼得係俾得到呢個天國嘅鑰匙，但我哋其實每一個人我哋都係得到呢個天國嘅鑰匙。我哋有呢個鑰匙，我哋都要去教導、去傳講天國嘅道理。
Pastors, teachers, leaders in the church are charged with teaching the grace of God and leading people to Christ.
無論係牧師或者教師，或者我哋喺教會嘅領袖，我哋都係有責任 去將耶穌嘅恩典神嘅恩典去教導人。
Praying that God opens the eyes of their heart to come to know Him.
我哋要為其他未信主嘅人去祈禱，等到希望神打開佢哋嘅眼，等到佢哋可以睇到。
That as we share Christ with people, that they will have their eyes open to know Him.
我哋要禱告，當我哋將耶穌嘅基督去分享俾其他人嘅時候，佢哋能夠相信。
Not as a good teacher.
神係一個好好嘅導師。
Not as a prophet.
耶穌唔係一個導師，耶穌唔係一個先知。
But as Lord.
但係耶穌係主係神。
And I don't have this written down, so I was thinking as I was going over the sermon this morning of, do churches preach the gospel?
咁我亦都係一路講道嘅時候，我自己一路都喺度諗，我哋其實教會有冇傳講福音咧
Not only BLC, but other churches.
唔止話我哋教會因福浸信會，其他教會有冇咧
And I was reminded of the fact that there was a church that I was pursuing a job at.
咁我都記起有嗰時我曾經有教會一個職位，我係想去爭取嘅。
And it's in the area here of our general area.
喺呢度都喺西雅圖呢度附近啦。
And the interview process was going well.
咁嗰時我嘅面試都幾好啊。
And then one of the steps was, come to the church, sit, listen to a sermon, see how it thinks, and then we'll proceed from there.
咁嗰時到一個地步就差唔多係已經我就嚟得到呢個工作啦。嗰時佢哋就叫我去到呢個教會去聽佢哋講道，跟住之後我哋完咗之後，我哋可以再傾下啲細節。
So Sunday morning, Ken and I and Letty went to church.
咁嗰時當然係星期日，我同 Tiana 就去到呢個教會啦。
Had my Bible and walked in.
咁我攞住本聖經，跟住就入去教會啦。
Met the worship pastor that was taking a Sunday afternoon worship.
咁嗰時我就同牧師打招呼啦。
We were walking into church, into the sanctuary.
咁我哋一齊都去到呢個殿裏面。
And there's chairs out pews because it's a newer church.
咁嗰個都係一間幾新嘅教會。
I sit down.
咁我坐低嘅時候
Look up at the front.
我望住上邊
There's no cross.
冇十字架喎。
I was like, well, that's interesting. I wonder where the cross is at.
咁我嗰時都覺得幾奇怪喎，咁十字架喺裏邊啊？
And I look at the chairs, I see some welcoming cards and no Bibles.
咁我亦都係睇下啲凳嘅前邊睇下，咦點好似冇聖經嘅？
Where's God's Word?
神嘅話語喺邊度？
I'm sitting there with my Bible and I look next to us and no one has a Bible.
咁我自己有本聖經啦，咁跟住我都睇下隔離嘅人，咁咦冇人有聖經喎。
After the worship was done, it was a big production. It was good worship music, and then the pastor gets up and preaches.
咁嗰個敬拜唱詩都幾好，因為佢哋都有好好嘅音樂隊。
I think the theme was love.
嗰時我記得嘅崇拜嘅主題係關於愛。
But on the PowerPoint, there was no verses.
但係喺呢個PowerPoint 上邊就完全冇聖經嘅經文。
There was no referencing to Jesus Christ.
佢哋亦都冇提過耶穌。
During the sermon. But that's what we're charged to do.
但係我哋同其他人傳講耶穌、傳講福音係我哋要做嘅就係。
And I know there's many other churches in our culture, in our country, that do the same thing.
我都知道喺我哋嘅文化、我哋國家裏邊有好多其他教會都係咁樣。
There is no Jesus in church.
就算喺教會裏邊都係冇耶穌。
It's a motivational talk.
只不過係一啲好似激勵人生嘅演講咁樣。
Be a good person.
做一個好人。
Make wise choices.
你做一啲明智嘅決定。
Live a good life.
你去有一個好好嘅生活。
And God will bless you.
咁神就會祝福你啦。
Or give money.
或者奉獻啦，奉獻啦。
Give lots of money to the church.
或者奉獻好多錢俾教會啦。
And if you do, then God will bless you.
如果你奉獻好多錢的話，咁你就得到祝福啦。
The gospel is not being preached.
但係冇講過神喎。
But we are responsible as Christians, not only as pastors, but as disciples, to share the gospel.
我哋既然基督徒，我哋 唔止話淨係牧師，我哋係所有基督徒的話，我哋都係要去同人分享福音。
Jesus not only gave Peter the keys to the kingdom of heaven, he gave us as his people keys to also advance the kingdom of God.
天國嘅鑰匙唔係淨係俾彼得嘅，而係俾我哋每一個信耶穌嘅人，我哋去繼續傳講天國嘅福音。
At the end of this passage, in verse 28, Jesus strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ. But we are charged to do that now. 咁
耶穌就喺第20節嗰度就話耶穌叫門徒唔好同其他人講佢係基督。
So in a society and a culture that doesn't preach Jesus,
咁佢哋喺我哋呢個喺呢個文化裏邊，我哋冇啲人中意講耶穌嘅文化裏邊。
when there are churches that don't preach Jesus,
我哋亦都知道我哋有啲教會係唔講耶穌嘅。
when we're told not to believe that God exists,
或者其他人同我哋講話，我哋唔好相信有神。
that Jesus was just a good man,
耶穌只係一個好人。
how do you respond?
咁當你聽到呢啲人同你咁講嘅時候，你點樣回應呢？
Do you stand up and defend your faith?
你會唔會去同人講解，或者去辯護對我哋嘅信仰辯護呢？
I know there are some situations like schools where it's hard to do.
我知道喺可能有啲學校嘅情況係較為難咁去辯護。
When a professor tells you not to write a paper about God or reference God,
或者當個教授同你講話，你千祈唔好寫神，唔好寫耶穌。
how do we respond to that?
咁你會點做呢？
I listen to the professor. I didn't write about God in that class.
其實如果俾我的話，我都唔會寫耶穌。
Not because I didn't believe in Jesus,
唔係因為我唔信耶穌。
but then I had an opportunity at the end of the class, when I was done, I talked to the professor about it.
咁但係即係當我喺個課完咗之後，我有個機會同教授講。
I told the professor that I respected your authority and I submitted to your authority as a professor at the school.
咁我同個教授講話，我寫篇文寫耶穌係因為我敬重你、尊重你係一個教授。
I was like, I believe in Jesus Christ, I believe in God.
但係我相信神，我相信耶穌。
And I know where you stand, you were very clear about it.
我亦都明白你嘅諗法係點樣。
But that class helped open my eyes to develop my faith stronger.
但係其實嗰一班咧，反而令到我更加係建立一個更加強嘅信心。
Because there was other professors at that college that were believers, that worked in the philosophy department.
因為其實佢喺嗰個哲學嘅裏面嘅其他嘅哲學教授都係有啲係信耶穌。
When I took philosophy 201 and he was the head of the department from one of his other professors there.
咁我嗰時亦都有聽呢個哲學嘅2001呢班。
I could write about God.
當係唔同嘅教授，我就可以寫關於神嘅嘢。
I was able to write about my faith.
我可以寫我自己嘅信心。
And that was encouraging.
咁對我嚟講係非常之有鼓勵性。
To know that there are some people out there that prevent us from expressing our faith.
因為我知道雖然係有啲人係唔想我哋有信心，
But there are some professors in a public school that promote it.
但係就算雖然喺公立嘅學校裏面，都係有啲信基督嘅教授係絕容許嘅。
Jesus says that the gates of hell will not prevail.
耶穌講過話，陰間係唔會能夠勝過呢啲嘅。
And as I see America getting worse and worse,
咁當我見到美國好似越嚟越差喺呢方面，
it's probably going to get harder and harder for us to express our faith.
我亦都見到對我哋基督徒嚟講係越嚟越困難去同人哋講耶穌嘅事。
I'm reminded by the fact that it's God's kingdom.
但係我就聖經提醒我，呢個係關於神嘅天國。
He's overseeing it.
神係掌管一切。
We can go to Him and one another and be encouraged and be prayed for one another.
我哋可以去到神面前，我哋都可以同大家互相弟兄姊妹去一齊去祈禱。
So I'm thankful for God's grace.
所以對神嘅恩典係非常之感謝。
I'm thankful that we still have the freedom we have to express our faith on a Sunday afternoon.
我喺星期日裏面都可以係好自由咁講我嘅信仰係都感到感恩。
Because as we all know, there's countries that don't allow this to happen.
因為我哋大家都知道有啲國家直情唔可以咁做。
So something I'd like you to think about, and as you go about this week, is listen to hear what other people are saying about Jesus, about God.
咁所以我都或者鼓勵大家，我哋翻去自己嘅生活裏邊嘅時候，我哋睇下其他人點樣講神嘅。
And then answer Jesus' question, who do you say he is?
咁當其他人可能質問或者有問題關於耶穌嘅時候咧，咁你自己會點答咧？
Ask him to open your eyes.
咁我哋請求神去開其他人嘅眼。
Pray for our family and friends who don't believe in Jesus.
我哋為到一啲我哋朋友，如果佢哋唔信神嘅，我哋都為到佢祈禱。
That God will open their eyes when we talk to them about Jesus, that they will come to know him.
就係希望神能夠打開佢哋嘅眼睛，等到佢哋能夠明白神係邊個。
Because we're here to make disciples.
因為我哋身為基督徒，我哋都係要使其他人做門徒。
And we're here to advance the kingdom of God, to help him.
我哋喺呢度係要繼續咁樣推展呢個天國。
Let's pray.
我哋一齊祈禱。
Father God, thank you for this time.
天父，好感謝呢個時間。
Thank you for your word.
好感謝你嘅話語。
Lord, thank you for salvation.
我對你感恩，好感謝。
Thank you that you opened our eyes, our hearts.
好感謝你開咗我哋眼，開咗我哋嘅心，
to come to know you.
等到我哋能夠明白你、認識你。
And I pray that you'll give us strength and encouragement when we get challenged by our faith.
主啊，請你俾我哋智慧，俾我哋力量，等到我哋可以同其他人分享你嘅話語。
When we're told not to express it,
當其他人叫我哋唔可以講嘅話嗰個時候，
that you'll provide us ways to express it.
我哋可以教導我哋有其他嘅方法可以講關於你嘅事。
And we thank you so much for the love that you have for us.
我對你嘅我哋對你俾咗你嘅愛非常之感謝。
From the songs we sang this afternoon earlier.
就好似我哋所唱嘅詩歌。
About your faithfulness.
因為你嘅信實。
Your love is never ending.
因為你嘅愛係永不止息。
Lord, and that you are always there to protect us.
主啊，你永遠都係保護我哋嘅。
In your name, amen.
我哋奉主耶穌基督嘅名祈求。